Yo, welcome into the Fantasy Roundup, first show of 2024. Happy New Year to everybody out there. Spencer the Guru rocking with y'all. And alongside me there, my co-host Gabe Henderson. What up, man? Ready for the new year?
Yeah, I'm ready for the new year. Not ready for football to end, though. Yesterday was an awesome day of football from about 11 a.m. to midnight. So I'm ready for this upcoming NFL weekend, but I'm not ready for it all to end, that's for sure.
I know, right? Yeah, because the start of the new year is always cool, and that we've got playoff football. We had the CFP last night, NFL playoffs starting soon, but it also signifies the end of a season, which is always sad because then we got to sit around for like 6 months waiting for the new season to start.
Yep.
So enjoy it while it lasts, y'all. Only a few more weeks left of football. It's January, so next month will be the Super Bowl. Man, time flies.
It's crazy.
It sure is, man. But yeah, we'd like to shout out our partners at Caesar Sportsbook. They've still got a good first offer there for those looking to get in on the actions, and make sure to check out Caesars. Man, there's value on that Michigan line. We're going to talk more about that on Bayou Bets here at 4 o'clock. We've got a double header for y'all today. Another double header. I think this is the second or third week in a row we've done the double header here. So, guys, for those that want more sports betting info, stick around for 4. Bayou Bets, y'all, myself and Jim Derry. But Gabe and I are here to discuss fantasy football, Week 18. Hopefully, most of y'all have y'all's championships wrapped up. Congrats to all those that are fantasy football champions. I only won one league this year, but it was a huge 32-man league with a big pot. So even though I didn't do as well as I normally do, at least the one I did win was big. And we're also going to talk about which way players are trending, heading into 2024. I mean, most people's fantasy leagues are over, dynasty leagues, just keep going all year. So, these stock reports, we always got to keep tabs on who's trending up and who's trending down. So we'll have a little segment on that at the end, as well as a live Q&A for anyone that's still alive or anyone that has a dynasty league question. So, yeah. How many championships did you win, Gabe, before we get to our headlines?
Let's see. I was in 9 leagues. I played in 7 championships.
Man,
I
better than
won.
me.
Hold on, trying to count. I think 3 or 4.
There you go.
3 or 4.
There you go.
And the rest of them. So I was in the top 2 in 7 of them. So I'll take that.
Yeah, I think I was in 3 championships, won one of the 3, but at least the one I won was the biggest pot of, I think, any league I was in pretty much. So, yeah, shout out to Fantasy Football Hustler for putting that 32-man league together. I thought it was crazy. I didn't know if I was going to join it at first, but I knew, you know what, I'll give it a try. And I'm glad I did. I ended up winning that thing, so feel pretty good about that. But
yeah, league with the league with the most money on the line for me. I'll tell you why I lost. I came second. I lost by less than 2 points, Spencer. And if Tyrod Taylor had just hit Saquon Barkley on the 2-point conversion when he was wide open for a walk-in 2-point conversion, that would have been 2 points that would have won me the title, won me that pot. But nope, came second place.
Yep. Damn, man, it's crazy how things can swing, because in that 32-man league, the finals weren't that close, but the semis were really close. I ended up winning on a stat correction. Because there's IDPs involved. Normally, offensive players don't have stat corrections, but IDPs sometimes they'll still have stat corrections. And sure enough, one of my individual defensive players got credited for an extra tackle, so I ended up going to the chipper there and ended up winning that pretty comfortably. Shout out to Rashee Rice. He was making me sweat there for most of that game. Then I get back. I actually had to pick up my roommate from the airport. Then I get back home, and Rashee Rice, had killed it in the fourth quarter. And so now I'm hoisting the championship. So, yeah, that was really cool. But, yeah, let us know. Comment your championship triumphs. I see we got Hank Trill up in here, our Listener League champion. Shout out to the Bayou Bets Listener League. We're going to recap that in just a little bit. But let's get to our Week 18 fantasy football headlines. Ravens and 49ers have clinched the number 1 seeds in the AFC and the NFC. So that means that most of their starters will be out this week. So keep an eye on that. Christian McCaffrey, y'all, calf injury already ruled out for Week 18. So likely a lot more players from these teams are going to be ruled out. So just keep an eye on that for anyone still alive here this week. Hopefully, like I said earlier, hopefully all the championships are wrapped up. But I know some of y'all like to play it all the way. So just know if you have CMC, well, he's done so for this week. He'll be back for the playoffs, I'm pretty sure. They're just being extra cautious with him, being that they've got everything clinched. The Ravens haven't decided yet, Jim Harbaugh being coy, but I would think he'll sit Lamar Jackson. I'm pretty sure he did that back in 2019 when they had everything wrapped up as far as seeding. Trevor Lawrence, though, hopeful to play. Jags still have a lot to play for. AFC South up for grabs between the Texans, Jags, and Colts. So T-Law expected to play. Hopefully he'll play better than he did lately. Man, it's been a very just kind of disappointing year for him with the way the Texans have emerged and the Colts. We'll see if T-Law, with all the expectations, this would be a big test. See if he can come through in Week 18. And then the Browns, Chiefs, and Rams also among teams likely to rest starters. Went through all the teams. Most of the other teams should be good. The Eagles, they're saying, might just basically wave the white flag and rest all their starters since Dallas likely is going to win this week and win the division. But it looks like, the Browns, they're pretty much locked into a wild card. The Rams also locked into a wild card. Chiefs locked up the AFC West. Not really much they can do to improve themselves seeding-wise. So, yeah, man, a lot of key players going to be out. So, I hope all your leagues are wrapped up, Gabe, because, man, I can't stand Week 18, man. There's just way too many stars out.
Yeah, I've got my main league. We go into Week 18 just because it works with the amount of people that we have and matchups that we do. We do it's a 12-team league. We do a rivalry week to add an extra week on there, play someone twice during the regular season. So we just go to Week 18, but my result's pretty wrapped up. I'm not in the championship there, so nothing really to worry about there. Lost in the semifinals, unfortunately.
I hear you. Yeah, Hank Trill has one for us. I think DeMarcus Robinson will play for the Rams. I actually think he might. I think it's Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua that get sat the whole game. Because Sean McVay is very cautious when it comes to his star players. But I think DeMarcus Robinson he's a starter for them, but I still think he'll need to play some. You got to have, enough healthy bodies to still field a roster. You can't just forfeit literally. You got to have some people playing. So I think him, Tutu Atwell, and Ben Skoranek will play. I'm guessing Tutu will fill the Nacua role and Skoranek will fill the Cup role. It's not going to be pretty, but 49ers probably sitting a lot of key people as well. So, yeah, I think DeMarcus makes for a pretty good play for those still in it in Week 18.
I agree. I actually liked him playing him last week as well. He's been on a tear recently, so if you're in one of those Week 18 matchups, like Spencer said, DeMarcus Robinson definitely someone to consider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always next man up mentalities. Tyler Huntley makes for a good play for anyone in Week 18. Sam Darnold makes for a good play. Maybe if he even plays, he's been banged up too. If he doesn't go, then Jordan Mason be the next man up there. Then, Baltimore, maybe a guy like Rashad Bateman could step up, someone that's just been kind of disappointing. Or for the Niners, like Jawan Jennings and Ronnie Bell, the backups to Ayuk and Debo, they'll probably get a lot of play. Cleveland, I'm sure they'll rest Amari Cooper to be safe. So Cedric Tillman, the rookie, he might have a coming out party this week, and then the Chiefs probably going to rest Mahomes, Kelsey, Rashee Rice. So, Blaine Gabbert might have some fun. I would say Tony, but he's terrible. I don't even know he probably still won't do good, and he's hurt. Who's the guy next? That's the backup tight end Noah Gray, I think, could do pretty good, and that just goes to show how terrible the Chiefs receiving core is. Richie James might step up and have a good game. He did pretty good last year down the stretch for the Giants, but. Yeah, it just goes to show if it down Week 18 is down bad.
Yeah, it's especially if you're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs receiving core. I don't care if you don't. I would rather start someone who doesn't get much time, someone like Jamal Agnew for the Jaguars over any Chief, over the Chiefs' number one receiver this week. Because if Mahomes and Kelsey sit, and there's
Rice,
really, Noah Gray and Rashee Rice. Noah Gray might be the only person I'd play out of that. I wouldn't even touch the backfield.
Yeah, Pacheco, they'll probably sit. CEH might get some run, although he was banged up, and then McKinnon's on IR. They're a mess, man. The Chiefs are a mess. It wouldn't shock me if they end up a one and done this year. I mean, I know they've got the proven pedigree with Mahomes and Andy Reid and Kelsey, and their defense is really good. So I'd probably take that back. I think they'll at least win one playoff game, but whenever they go up against another team with a great defense like Baltimore or something, I don't see their offense scoring over 20 points. They just look broken right now.
Yeah, put it this way, Spencer. The talk here in Houston, Texans fans, because Texans have a chance if they win on Saturday, they're in no matter what, regardless of whether Jacksonville wins and they win the division. There has been talks in Houston about, who would we want to play in the wild card, and it seems to be the consensus is at Kansas City. Just because of it, which sounds crazy. No one would wish for Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, but other than Mahomes and the defense, that team has really struggled this year.
I know, yeah. What a defense! That's the thing. The defense is pretty scary over there. That's the thing that might bail them out, even though they're not that great this year offensively. Their defense, I think that's what happened. They let Tyreek Hill go, so they were able to beef up the defense. But now the offense is struggling because without Tyreek Hill. I mean, shout out to Rashee Rice. He's doing work at receiver. I mean, as Hank Trill was saying, probably a second or third round pick next year. Can't argue with that. He's legit. We'll get more to him on the stock report segment, but he can't. I mean, he's a rookie for one, and for two, he's got to have some help, man. You can't just depend on literally one guy like that. Tyreek Hill, yeah, he's capable of being a one-man show, but Rashee Rice is a rookie. I don't think he's enough. They need other stuff there, and I don't know what they can do, though. I mean, the trade deadline passed. Like, it's not you're going to be able to go get a Devontae Adams at this point, a true difference maker. So that's why I'm kind of thinking that they're kind of screwed.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things they could do. They could bring in some guys who are free agents right now. You've got veterans like Zach Ertz. You've got veterans like Dalvin Cook. But once again, those aren't receivers. Zach Ertz, you could run a double tight end set and take a receiver off the field. But yeah, unless there's some receivers who get cut in the coming days, there's really not many options for guys that are out there that they can do. They're just going to have to, chalk this one up as a litmus test this year. We now know that Patrick Mahomes, without good receivers and with Kelsey having a down year, can't really get it done.
Yeah, I mean, he's the best quarterback in our generation, I'd say, as far as just pure talent. I mean, obviously. Career accomplishments, Brady, Breeze, Manning, Rodgers obviously have way more. But just from a pure ceiling standpoint, I've never seen anyone like Mahomes. But it just goes to show without reliable weapons, even he can struggle. So, yeah, it's pretty ugly over there. We'll see what they do this offseason. And Hank Trill has a bold prediction. Joe Flacco and the Browns knock out Lamar and the Ravens. Man, I think this is Lamar's year, man. I had said that before the season that I liked that Lamar in this new system, and my preseason pick was Ravens 49ers. So I'm definitely not switching up on that. They're both the number one seeds in the conferences there, AFC, NFC. So I'm gonna have to disagree with that one, but there's no denying that Joe Flacco's got the Browns looking nice.
Yeah, I know a bunch of Ravens fans who they want no part of seeing Joe Flacco in the playoffs, and who can really blame them? I mean, they're feeling good right now, but they know what Joe Flacco turns into. I know we make the jokes about him being elite, but when it comes playoff time, he is truly elite, and he's proven that in the past. But this is, I think this is the AFC version of what people think will happen to the Lions. Matthew Stafford and the Rams roll into Ford Field and they could beat the Lions and Jared Goff. It's been people have joked about that all year, but watch out for the Rams. They've got weapons.
Yeah, they could be dangerous, and Detroit's defense pretty vulnerable. I would like to think Detroit would get that done at home, but you never know, man. Dan Campbell, I like him to a degree, but man, I know the refs didn't do him any favors, but man, he was, to me, an idiot for going for it a second time like that. If you get pushed back, well, accept it and then kick. Like, to me, going for it again was just out of rage. I feel like he's like, you know what, we're still doing it, which he claims he's like, we were doing it no matter what. But to me, he kind of let his emotions get the best of him.
No, I think it was the right decision. Because here's the reality of it. The Lions can't move any further than the 3 seed. And they could have gotten up to the 1 seed if things went their way. So, I think it was just a Hail Mary play. The reality is if they go to overtime with Dallas, they're probably losing to Dallas anyway. Dallas really good at home, and they had the Lions by the scruff of the neck for most of that game. I agree with what Dan Campbell did. I thought he made the right decision. Once they got moved back, I thought it really just showed his confidence in what his team was doing, and they really, it was go for broke. So.
Yeah, I just feel like if they'd have won, they'd have had they could still get number 2 seed, but if they, it's a lot tougher now, but I don't know. Yeah, he is very confident. We'll see if that confidence pays off. And, but yeah, it's crazy to think Juju was the only difference from last year, and Juju sucks. That's why I was thinking Sky Moore was going to break out this year, but he didn't. And so, yeah, losing Juju did kind of hurt him a little bit, but yeah, it just, you never know. These playoffs are going to definitely be interesting. We're going to get some little sneak previews there. That Colts-Texans game, that's pretty much a playoff game. The winner of that is in. The loser is likely out. So, yeah, we got a lot on the line this week.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to the NFL slate this weekend.
Yep. I'm glad they kept the Saints at noon. I go into there. I like the noon games. They get done. I can get out of there at a decent time. So, yeah, me and Jim Derry will be there. Saints-Falcons. Hopefully that game means something. And speaking of Saints-Falcons, let's shout out Hank Trill once again. And, oh, yeah, he's going to the Patriots did him no favors. He's off the map. It wouldn't shock me if he's a free agent on the street next year. But speaking of Hank Trill, let's shout him out again. He took down our very own Gabe Henderson in the Listener League Finals. So Team Latino Heat. He already had clinched the tickets being our highest finishing listener, but now he can also brag to his buddies and say he's the 2023 Fantasy Roundup Bayou Bets League champion. Congratulations, Hank Trill, better known as Philip Casey, his legal name there. But yeah, Team Latino Heat. I would always see that name on the deal and be like, oh, man, I've got to face Latino Heat this week. Damn, man, I'm probably going to take the L. And sure enough, he got it done. So enjoy those tickets, man.
Yeah, shout out Hank Trill. Great game. And, shout out my co-host over here, the Guru, for helping Latino Heat build that squad.
I thought I made a good trade with him, man. I got Josh freaking Allen. I thought I was winning. But I traded Dak and CD Lamb, and then, of course, CD Lamb ends up being even better than I expected. I got back in the deal D-Hop and Zay Flowers, thinking D-Hop still had a little something left, but Titans' offense is just broken beyond repair. And Zay had a strong rookie year, but not enough to justify trading CD. So, yeah, he got me on that one. He got me. So, but, good year overall. My team was a playoff team and stuff, but yeah, and we'll definitely have to run this thing back. We'll have to run this thing back for sure. And, man, you got to rub it in. I don't know if I want you back. He's trying to steal my Guru thunder. Oh, shoot. But, yeah, it was a fun league, y'all. Shout out to all the listeners there. Mike was another contender. Shout out to him. He had a strong squad. William, the Run CMC squad, he was really strong. Gabe and I made the playoffs. Who else made it? Oh, yeah, Salmon. I'm on a roll. It was the 6th playoff team. Then Uncle Big Nick, shout out to UBN. His squad came on strong at the end, as well as a couple other guys. But, it was a fun league. Hopefully we can have a lot of the same listeners back and also have a few open spots to try to – maybe we'll expand the league next year. Maybe we'll make it 14 teams or something. Make it even more spicy. So, yeah, shout out to – Bayou Bets listeners, Fantasy Roundup listeners that played in the league. That was a fun ride. That's everything I wanted it to be. Even though I didn't win, I love tough competitive leagues, and I'm just glad I made the playoffs, man. That was a tight league. Everyone in there knew what they were doing, and even though not everyone had a great record, I mean, someone's got to lose. So, luckily it wasn't us. I mean, I still made the playoffs. At least held my honor in that regard. And yeah, UBN was definitely unlucky. So, yeah, he might be dangerous next year. Just he'll probably want to go a little easy on the LSU love. He definitely goes with his LSU guys. But yeah, fun league. Put a bow on it. Thanks again, y'all. And but we're not gonna put a bow on the show quite yet. Still got a few more things to talk about with this stock up, stock down report heading into 2024. And to me, the biggest stock up from this season, man, it's got to be Kyren Williams. I mean, Kyren Williams enters this season a second-year back, relative unknown, likely just going to be the backup, maybe even third string there for the Rams. It looks like it'd be Cam Akers' backfield, starts off as a starter, and then, of course, Cam Akers does Cam Akers things. I don't know if he got hurt or pissed somebody off or what, but he ends up traded to the Vikings. I think he got hurt at first, and then him and McVay have been riffing for a while now. Was made a healthy and active last year at some point. That's why I wanted no part of Cam Akers this year. I didn't want any part of the Rams backfield because I was thinking they wouldn't be able to run the ball to save their lives. But Kyren Williams, he saved the day. He's had a Todd Gurley-esque season this year, missed a few games, but when he was healthy, he wasn't far off from CMC. He was number 2 in points per game for running backs, always involved near the goal line, catching passes, piling up yards on the ground. I mean, he was a complete 3-down back, workhorse. I mean, very similar to Gurley in that he's someone that, to me, next year, he's a top 5 pick.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, let me just give a tip, starting with what you said in the build-up to that. If anyone hears anything next year or anyone tries to bait you on the Cam Akers is going to start for this team or that team, probably the Vikings, don't fall for it, people. Cam Akers is horrible, trash, garbage, whatever superlative or adjective you want to use for him. Just don't fall for it. But yeah, Kyren Williams, we talked about it earlier in the season, Spencer, just heading into the season as well. We really didn't want anything to do with the Rams. They were aging, they were over the cap. They were just trying to get by. And guys like Kyren Williams and Puka Nacua have really revived that franchise. And here they are now sitting in a playoff spot.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, Puka too, could definitely put Puka on this list. I mean, he was someone that just wasn't even drafted in a lot of leagues. Yeah, I highly doubt anyone's going to sign him to be their starter next year, but you never know. I mean, he's a guy that when he's healthy, he's pretty decent, but problem is he's never healthy and he doesn't really catch passes. So to me, he's someone that's at best, he could be like a poor man's David Montgomery, but I still wouldn't want him. I mean, he's someone he's had his chance and he didn't take advantage. As a running back, running backs have short shelf lives. You got to get yours when the opportunity comes. And Cam Akers, man, he fumbled it. He fumbled his chance.
He's going to be on one of those, the TikTok reels, like random players from the 2010s and 2020s, how you see those every so often. He's going to be on that.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get to see him on Saturdays or Tuesdays or whatever the hell days the US XFL, FLFL Spring League plays in or whatever they're calling it.
Yeah, I didn't realize that had merged. Yeah.
He's going to be the starting running back for one of those teams if he isn't hurt here in the next few years, if not next year.
Right, yeah, he'll probably, I wouldn't surprise me. It has to be the US XFL, I guess it'd be called.
I don't know what it's called. It's all ridiculous.
Because I think, the USFL had bought out the AAF or whatever, and then now the XFL's merged with the USFL, and I'm not trying to hate on spring football, but it wouldn't shock me if that stuff's gone within the next 5 years. I know they're trying to push for it, but people like to rag on baseball. But let's be real. Now that Ohtani's a Dodger and he's the talk of the town, baseball is still far superior to anything spring football can cook up. So, I mean, yeah, it's summertime. That's Ohtani time, y'all. Spring football, it's it can try. I'll try to give it more of a chance this year since they'll have more teams. But I have a feeling I'm just going to end up going back to my fantasy baseball teams.
Yeah, I'm never going to give any of those leagues time of day again. It's almost like the MLS. I'm a big soccer guy. I tried to give the MLS the time of day, and I just can't. And it's the same for these spring football leagues. The quality is just such a drop off. I'm a sicko. I enjoy watching Iowa football and rooting for punts and stuff like that. But even I can't do something like spring football. Those leagues are just atrocious. There's no skill really in there. You maybe get a handful of players who get a shot in the NFL, but other than that.
Yeah, I mean, you got a Taylor Heineke, St. Louis Battlehawk star. So I guess it'd be more of a thing if you got certain players you want to follow. It could be kind of interesting. But anyway, let's get back on the rails here. Stock up, another stock up here. We talked about him earlier. Rashee Rice, y'all. Rashee Rice is the WR1 in Kansas City. There's no denying it. I mean, I'm sure they'll bring in a veteran or two next year to help out Mahomes, but I don't see Rashee Rice losing this number one role. I think he's someone that Mahomes has gained trust in, and once Mahomes trusts you, you're golden, as we saw with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Like Mahomes, that's how the greats do it. Once they find their go-to trustworthy guy, they pepper them. Like Aaron Rodgers to Devontae Adams, Peyton Manning to Marvin Harrison, Tom Brady to Randy Moss and Gronk. I mean, if you got a guy like that, you're not letting him go. And Rashee Rice on that cheap rookie contract, he's going to be around for years to come. So kudos to anyone who's got him in Dynasty. Do not sell. Hold Rashee Rice in Dynasty, or maybe try to trade for him before he becomes the next Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. He's a Mahomes number one for years to come, and once they get a stronger receiving core with more weapons, and with Travis Kelce's possible decline, the sky is the limit for Rashee Rice. It took him a little while to get going this year, but now that he's reached his potential, I think we're gonna hear a lot about him over the next few years.
100%. So let's get now to our stock downs, y'all. I got a couple of veterans on here that were still like first, second round picks in a lot of leagues this year, but next year these guys are going a lot later. I'll start off with Derrick Henry, man. King Henry, I think it's safe to say the king has lost his crown. Derrick Henry is no longer a king running back. I mean, he's still all right, but he's going to be a committee back next year if he stays in Tennessee. Hell, it wouldn't shock me if they straight up cut him because Tajay Spears is going to be probably their main running back next year, and Henry probably just be a goal line back. I mean, Derrick Henry, the Texans to me really exposed Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry used to be a Texans killer, as you remember, Gabe, but this year, not the case. Derrick Henry, he's not quite washed to the point where he's out of the league, but he's definitely washed as far as being an elite back. So it's just time. If you can get him in depends on where he ends up. If he stays in Tennessee, I probably wouldn't touch him till the 7th or 8th round. But if he goes somewhere where someone that's like down bad at running back, I'd be willing to let him start. Maybe still 5th, 6th, but no earlier than that. Derrick Henry's days of being an elite first-round pick are long gone.
Yeah, against the Texans, he had a total of 28 carries for 51 yards this season. I mean, that's Leonard Fournette against Alabama numbers, if I've ever seen them. I mean, Derrick Henry is just, unfortunately for him, he's been worked into the ground by Tennessee, and Tennessee's offense is just too one-dimensional this year. The Mayo man himself, Mr. Will Levis, couldn't get it done. Ryan Tannehill couldn't get it done. I saw this coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
But Derrick Henry is one of the most enjoyable running backs to watch when he's at his peak. He's still in great physical condition. If he can go to a contender, because these last few weeks have kind of shown us that I don't think he returns to Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
I don't think either party has interest in staying together. So he's a free agent coming up. It'll be interesting to see where he signs, but I think his stock's definitely down from where it's been in the last few years.
Yeah. If he ends up somewhere good, I mean, shoot, if he ends up like in Philly or something, somewhere with a great run blocking scheme, then I'd be like, okay, maybe I'd take him higher. But yeah, if he's stuck in Tennessee, I ain't touching him unless he'd fall very far. And our other stock down here, Stefon Diggs, man, what the hell has happened with Stefon Diggs? I remember I kind of called this. I didn't expect it to be this bad, but I did say when they made Joe Brady to OC, I was like, watch, I bet they don't pepper Diggs quite as much because that formula just wasn't working. Josh Allen was too turnover prone. Now with Joe Brady, is a lot more running the football. James Cook has really thrived. Allen himself hadn't necessarily thrived, but he's been less turnover prone. I mean, he hadn't been as good for fantasy, but the one that's really fallen off a cliff is Stefon Diggs, y'all. Stefon Diggs, I don't know if he's banged up on top of it or if it's just Brady redoing the offense, but man, his numbers have plummeted the past couple months. I mean, he went from being still a top 5 receiver to now it's like, is he even worth starting anymore in fantasy? I mean, the Bills offense, very strange. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's definitely not as fantasy friendly with Joe Brady. I feel like it's a lot more just like check downs, like just kind of weird kind of stuff where at least with Ken Dorsey, we knew it'd be pepper Stephon Diggs. He's getting 15 targets every week, where now I'm not saying he's completely washed. I mean, he's a great talent like Derrick Henry, but when you get some age on you and start to see your stats suffer, that's usually when I'm like, I don't want you anymore for fantasy, because these guys still have name value. So usually the casual players like, Stephon Diggs is still there? Oh, I guess I'll take him. Or I'm like, man, he's getting older, man. Age is starting to catch up, and the way they're scheming the offense, it doesn't seem like he's as much of a focal point anymore.
Yeah, luckily one of the leagues I'm in has a plethora of Bills fans, so maybe they'll still take that bait going into next year, and I'll be able to snag someone up earlier. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying not to break my arm patting myself on the back too hard with this one, but I saw the Bills receiving core falling off from a mile away. I think I called it preseason. You know, you were down on the Rams, I was down on the Bills, and when you've only got one great receiver, it's only a matter of time. You know, it's like the Chiefs. If they can phase out Kelsey, these other teams have really seen that Mahomes can be ineffective. And while Josh Allen hasn't been ineffective, Stephon Diggs just isn't a part of that offense anymore as much as he used to be. And we all know how that'll end up. You know, Diggs and Allen have had their rifts in the past, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him move on this offseason.
Right, yeah, there might be. Yeah, I definitely think they beef up that receiving core. That's another thing. I think they might go crazy and trade for Davante Adams. I think there's going to be a huge market for Davante Adams. I think the Jets with Rodgers, they're going to be bidding on him. The Bills, I think the Raiders net at least the first and a second for Davante Adams, because Davante Adams has still got it. But the way the Raiders are going, I don't see them keeping him. As the way their offense is, maybe they will, but I just don't really. By the time they get good enough, he's probably gonna be too old. So I think, and plus, someone's gonna make him just a stupid offer and like give him so much to where. Yeah. Well, I think actually though, I think the Bills are probably stuck with Diggs. Now that I'm thinking about it, because he's got a big cap hit. I think him and Adams could probably coexist. I feel like they'd have to have a sit down with him, and maybe though, if they have a sit down with him and he says, "No, I'm going to be the alpha," then maybe they could trade him. But with all the money he's owed, I don't see him getting much for him.
Yeah, it's definitely intriguing to see. I think if we've learned one thing this season, it's Gabe Davis is not a number 2 wide receiver in the NFL. And I'll say that until I die.
They are definitely they are adding pieces there, whether Stephon Diggs likes it or not, because the fact is Diggs can't do it by himself. It's getting proven here. He's been getting shut down, man. Teams have caught on, and they know now to just take him out of the game, force someone else to beat you, and a lot of times no one else steps up, because, I mean, Dalton Kincaid's been okay, but, like, I mean, he's a tight end, like, so, and he hadn't been – he's just a rookie. I think he's eventually got hope, but they need to add some outside receivers. I mean, they're terrible at that position.
Yep. Just, I mean, it's a graveyard there other than Stephon Diggs.
Facts. So that's going to do it for our 2024 early stock report. Appreciate all y'all rocking with us here. And for those sticking around, if y'all have any Week 18 questions or any Dynasty questions, get them in now. We're about to give our final thoughts. So if y'all don't have any, we're going to sign off. But Gabe, before we do, final thoughts?
You know, it's big Week 18 game for CJ Stroud and the boys this weekend. Hopefully the Texans can get it done, and I'll be a happy man come this weekend.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, man, all I got basically is just thank y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with us for this 2023 season now in the 2024. So it's pretty fitting that the fantasy season ended on the last day of 2023. So that was pretty cool. Got all the leagues decided there. Got that big championship. Got to celebrate that on New Year's. So yeah, that was great. And then congrats to everyone else that won. It's just always enjoy doing this. I do this not only because I love it, because I know you guys love it as well, and I love sharing that passion for fantasy football with you guys each and every week. So yeah, it's been a great season. We might need to take a week or two off here to recharge the batteries heading into 24 with we had so much info to do, but we'll definitely keep this a regular show. We're not going anywhere. So yeah, thanks again, y'all. It's been a great ride. And doesn't look like we got any other questions, so that's going to put a bow on this one. Appreciate all y'all once again. We'll be back either next week or the week after. Probably take at least 1 week off. We'll talk about that. But
subscribe to the YouTube to find out when we go live.
Yeah, there you go. Good final note there. Subscribe to the channel. That'll keep you up to date on everything. So for Gabe Henderson, this is Spencer the Guru Urquhart on Fantasy Roundup. We will see y'all later.